Hey everybody, and welcome back. We're going to keep going with our app. This is part 4 in the series of creating the I Feel Good task app for helping people to achieve health objectives with a daily task list. So the last time I got stuck on one thing, which was this function that was supposed to be determining if we add or remove something from the user's objectives array or their pre-existing conditions array. And the thing that I was missing, really stupidly, was just to input the item label itself. So the function was failing because it was thinking that the value was null because I hadn't put any protection in place. And so with a bit of ChatGPT help, made a much more robust function that checks if the item label is invalid or not first before continuing with the rest of the function. So this is all good, and the await users, the await noodle.users.current.save, it does actually work, and setting user properties to something using code also works. So the noodle.users.current is an object in the browser, and that object can be fetched when we need to update the user properties if something's changed in the database. But it stays in the browser as an object, and we can manipulate it like an object, just saying, okay, I'm going to set conditions to this locally, and then I'm going to save it up to the database. So if I don't do this part, we've only changed the conditions locally and we haven't actually saved it into the database. So it's just a little trick for, and yeah, it's noodle.users.current, which has been assigned to user, which also has been used with let, so that we can actually change it. It's not a const, which I think could have made that mistake maybe before. So let means that we can actually update it with new data and change some things about it. So there you go, that works. And if I click things, diabetes, heart condition off, then in the database that is reflected there. So I've got intestinal problems and diabetes. Not me, but I hope not. Okay, so we've got our checkboxes. Now what I want to do is put a bit of a condition on the person, because I don't want them just to click one thing. That's not going to help them, I don't think. So let's put a little subtext in here and say, make it a small text and say, please select at least one. So to have at least one objective and one condition. Oh, I've actually mixed these up. Objectives is down here and conditions is up here. Oops. And there. So yeah, this is getting a little bit silly that this should really be, this should really be a component at this point, I think. Shouldn't it? Screw it. Well, normally I would turn this into a component, but I really want to just get through. But yeah, it's the same thing. We could just have component inputs for the title, for the subtitle, and then be feeding into the repeater whatever the static array is from the outside, just by linking it up to the items. That probably would be, okay, let's just do that. Get a component. So this is going to be called onboarding lists. And the onboarding list is going to have this array. So we're going to hook up items to items. We're going to hook up title to title and subtitle to subtitle. Subtitle to subtitle. Okay. And then, yeah. So we don't need that anymore. We're going to put that directly in here, because now we have an items thing that's opened up. We're going to actually just statically put in our array. And then here it's condition. So we're going to call this pre-existing conditions. Please select at least one. And then we're going to copy paste that. We're going to take the second static array and we're going to delete all that stuff. We don't need it anymore. And this is going to be that array with objectives, your objectives. Make it sound nice. Please select at least one. Okay, and so now we need to test when they have selected at least one or not. So we need to get the, let me think what we could do with that. We need to check the current user data. Now, will it update as I click things? Maybe, because the user node, being a green node, should be connected to live data. Yes, in the database. Bingo. Nice, nice, nice. Alrighty, so we're going to take those and we're going to take that. Yeah. So we're going to say objectives dot length is greater than 0 and conditions dot length is greater than 0. Hook up the two arrays, objectives to objectives, conditions to conditions, and then if it's true, it's going to set it to complete, and if it's false, it's going to set it to onboarding. So this should show us, the next time I load the page, it should show us our normal, so it's set to complete. We've got an array with 2, an array with 1 object, and so that's greater than 0 in both cases, and so it's set it to the main task container. Now that's just on page load when the user is fetched. I could also add a button, maybe up here or something, in this menu. That's probably a good idea actually. Add a button up in that header menu that'll take you back to the onboarding page, let's say. So let's go to header. Where's the header? Global Visual Components header navbar, user profile button, and user, then where's the drop down menu? Okay. Oh, menu items. Finished, login or logged out items. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. So my little array for the menu here, the drop down menu takes different items depending on if you're logged in or logged out. So it filters the ones that are logged in, and then that's the menu items that come out with their different properties that go into the drop down menu, and format the menu with whatever my profile and the icon that I've chosen. So we just have to add one more in the logged in bit, which is here, which is going to be settings. Just for now, we'll call it settings. Item icon would be settings, I think is the Google icon for a cog. Item ID is going to be settings, and logged in is true. There we go, settings. Nice. Alrighty, so if we click settings, so if this is just a switch that I use to pipe in the clicked item, so there's ID of the item that I set in the array that you just saw, then this one would be set, no, yeah, it was settings, yeah, settings. I have to try to remember what it is. Outputs to settings, and break. And then if we do settings, we're going to cheat a little bit. I want to just send an event. So this is like, I haven't got the patience to put a whole bunch of outputs and outputs and inputs and inputs to try to get from the header back down to the home page. So I'm just going to send an event. Shouldn't really be used unless necessary, because it's global events, and so you end up with this big list of, channel names. It's not really necessary. If you have a component that's within another component and you can do it with component outputs, then do it. But here I'm like doing a very specific action that I want to trigger something on the home page. So let's call it go to onboarding global event. And so if somebody clicks on settings, it sends an event, and that event will be received over here. Receive event, and then we see it in the list. Go to onboarding. Consume means, does that use it up if it's received here, or does it carry on cascading down to any receive events? So I don't need it to be consumed or not, because I'm only going to receive this once here. It's enabled, and so if we click go to onboarding, then it goes to onboarding. That means that even though I've page loaded and I'm in the home page, I can still click settings and go back to onboarding, and then we're going to put in a button at the bottom of our onboarding list container that's going to say done, for example. And done is going to switch it back to complete. So it might look a bit hacky, and it could be done with a component stack, but this is a nice easy way to get it done. So I don't really care. I can click on settings. I can click on done. Nice. Now we actually need the tasks to appear. So this is the real meat of this lesson. Of today's lesson is how do we fetch the objectives and conditions of the user and run a creation tasks list of things to do that will create new tasks with the right labels and descriptions and everything. So what we need is to query what's happening at the moment. It's querying any task lists. Now that's a class that is designed to give somebody a list for a certain day. One person, one list, one day, that will have a bunch of tasks associated with it. And I think the way that I did it was it wasn't with a relation, because I don't really like relations that much. But maybe I should do it with relations. Yeah, I'm going to do it with relations. Am I? No, because then I'll have to do bulk relation adding, and I hate doing that. No, I don't. That's okay. No. We're going to do relations. So relations are good and bad in parse, in this version of parse anyway, which is the older one that Noodle are using at the time that I'm making this recording. So it creates a kind of secret relation table, as it does with any other kind of Postgres SQL style database. But the way that you can in Noodle front end, you can, and the back end as well, you can only add or remove one relation at a time. So if you want to remove multiple relations, you can't do that all at once. You have to use run tasks and run the add relations node several times, right? So we're not going to do that. We're going to we are going to do that. We're going to run tasks, and we're going to add the relations every time. So we just need to do it once. Every day we create a task list for this user. We find the tasks that are appropriate for their objectives and their conditions, and then we run tasks, and we'll create 5 tasks. I think it'll be 5. So it's not a big deal. It's not going to take long. 5 tasks with relations to this table. And then I can just call the task list and include the task. I'll show you. Include the has tasks field. And then that'll just give me all the tasks immediately that I can pull out. I don't have to query the task list and the tasks. I can do it all in one, not in like 2 queries. I don't have to like query task list and then query the tasks that are related to that task list. I can just find the task list and include the tasks for the day. So I'll do that later because I'll have to change this. Anyway, so here what we're doing is creating a task list. If the query for a task list entry that is within today's start or end date, which I've done here, start of day UTC, end of day UTC, because the dates are stored in UTC in the database. So it's checking are there any greater or less than today's start or end date, and the owner is pointing to the current user. So we need the user to be the owner, which it is. We need the date to be today's date, which it is. And that'll just put whatever the date is in UTC, I think. No, it's putting it in UTC. That's UTC, because it's currently 16 o'clock and this is 14 o'clock. So that's right. Okay, so it's creating the record, and now we need to pass in. So forget about this. We need to pass in a list of 5 tasks, master tasks, that we can get to run on this run tasks. It'll create new tasks for this user, attribute them to their task list, and it'll be tasks that are related to their objectives. So let's get the ChatGPT code that it made for me earlier. We're not going to copy the code this time. We're going to inspire ourselves from the code and try our best to code it ourselves. So we need to get the user and the user's conditions. So we need to set the user's conditions first. Let's do a function. So we need to have user conditions, and that would be noodle.users.current.properties.conditions. And then similarly, we're going to have user objectives, which will be the objectives. Okay, what's next? We need to find all the tasks where the master field is true. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to make, Noodle AI to make one for me, because it's quite handy just to see how the functions to query the database are created. So I'm going to say find all task records where the master field is true. Produces a pretty tidy function that I can just copy paste in, and in the right sort of Noodle way, because the way that ChatGPT has done it is with like the parse SDK, which is not the same as the Noodle essentially SDK that you're using to query the database. So here we go. So it's Noodle records query, results is task, master is equal to true. There we go. So we can take this, or not all of it, we'll parse it out. So query equals that, and we So what we actually want to do is const task list, master tasks. No, we don't want to do that. So let master tasks. Try master tasks equals await query task master is equal to true, and then we don't need to output anything because we've already got the master tasks. Catch error, and then we can output failure and an error. That's fine. That's cool. So it means that we've got our master tasks defined by this, I think, if I'm not wrong. I'm going to pass it through ChatGPT to be sure, obviously, afterwards if it doesn't work. So don't worry. If there's glaring mistakes, we're going to fix them. So we need to get the tasks, and then we're doing this mapping. So task objectives equals task at objectives. Oh, I see. Okay. Tasks. Yeah. So we'll call it tasks, actually. So it fits with the code that's here. And now we can take this. So we're going to calculate task scores. We're going to take the task that we're currently passing through, and we're going to get the objectives value of that. Do we need to get it, or do we just do task dot? I think just task dot works. I don't think we need to get anything. And task dot conditions. Isn't that what it is in the database? So a task has conditions and objectives. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, so we're getting our tasks. We're running them through a mapping. We're defining the objectives and the conditions to a variable. We're defining matching objectives. We're taking that variable we created there. We're filtering it to find out if the user objectives includes this objective and how long it is. And then we get back an object that is part of task scores with the task object and the score. So then we take task scores and sort it by lowest to highest score. And then we take the top task score sliced in. Okay. And then, yeah, outputs. Is that, oh no, we don't need this bit. Outputs dot top tasks equals top tasks. All right. So we don't get any top tasks yet because we don't have, what are we missing? So we don't have any inputs. We're querying the tasks. Did we get any errors? Is that the one that we just created? No. Okay. No top tasks yet. So let's just make sure that this is actually outputting the tasks. Console log tasks found No task found. So that's a little bit of a problem because I do actually have 2 tasks where master is true, I think. Oh, master task. Oops. Read your fields. Before you get started, read your fields. Muppet. There. Top tasks. Nice. Okay, so have they been ordered? Yeah, I guess what we need to do then is check if that's really ordering them correctly. But anyway, so we've done creating a task list. We are going to run that function. Evaluate top tasks for this user. And then we're going to limit it to 5 tasks. 5. Okay. And then we're going to run these tasks. Oh yeah, I know what we need to do too. We also need to map the created task list to each one of the objects that we're piping into run tasks, because I'll show you why. Top task is going to go in here. Run tasks, what it does is it runs a template. So we're going to create a template and I'll explain why. So we're going to run tasks for, we'll do global logical components, and we're going to create new task. So that will be create task, create new record, task, and then we'll have a look at what's coming in, but it's going to be the fields that are here are the inputs. So I'll have objectives, label, description, master, etc., etc., etc. So what I could maybe do is just pull the object from that, or could I pull the record? Kind of duplicate the record is what I want to do, I think. So we set the template, and the items are being set dynamically. And then within here, what I want to do is kind of duplicate a task record. So I wonder, could I have the ID of the record task, fetch that ID, fetch it when it's running, and then we're going to just duplicate that. But we're going to duplicate everything except for master task, obviously. So the label will be the label, the description will be the description, the objectives will be the objectives, master is nothing, we'll just leave it blank, belongs to task list, haha, so we'll come back to that in a second. Complete is no, we'll just leave it blank at the moment. Conditions, well, we could set complete to be false, no, it's fine. Conditions are going to be conditions, and master task we don't fill. Oh, master task we are going to fill in because that's a pointer to the original master task, isn't it? Just in case. It's nice to have pointers to know where things have come from. Oh no, it's not. Talk nonsense. So why is there master and master task? Oh, I know why. Yeah, where's master? Yeah, master. So because this is parse running on top of MongoDB, it can dynamically create columns whenever you write data to the database and you include a field that the database doesn't have. It'll just create a new column for it, which is really strange. So I'm just putting that out there. Really make sure, like I didn't do, that you check your field names, because if you put a field name that accidentally has a capital M, it'll create a duplicate column, master task capital M. It won't, it won't fail. It'll just be like, oh, okay, I'll write a new column, no problem. You can switch it off by going to class level permissions and saying that nobody's allowed to create fields. That's one way to switch that off. But anyway, so we're going to delete the column master because it's just going to confuse us. And good, so that creates a new task, but now we're missing the the owner of the task as well, no? We need the owner of the task. Belongs to the task list. No, because it's just, it's part of the task list, so it's fine. So we don't need the owner, that's good. And we have the created by field. So what we need now is a relations field. So we're going to add a record relation. We're going to say that the ID of the task we just created is the target record, the target of the relation, so the one that's going to become a relation. But again, we're still missing the task list. So we can't get the task list in here. We can't use parent component objects or anything like that. The run tasks node is not like a standard component. It's really a specific thing for logic components. So there's no inside and outside component type thing. Everything has to be passed through an item. So what we need to do is map the I forget how to do this. Okay, let's just ask ChatGPT. We need to map the task list input to the end of that code. Can we please at the end of this code map a variable inputs task list ID to the end of each task object? There it is, input task list ID, nice. Okay. Task score, there we go. So top tasks, we slice it up and then we map it. And we map it with the original object task score task, and we put the task list ID at the end. I like it. Let's have a look at the results. Oh, we don't have a master task list. There we go. We don't have the task list ID. Forgot again to put the ID with the function, and it's not running, I guess, because we don't have any. We don't have any. We haven't run this function yet, so we could just take this off maybe and see what happens. Run the function and master task. Oh, I don't see it. Oh, well, it's the task list. Maybe it's this one? No, it's not. I guess what we're, no, I guess what I'm doing wrong here is that there is actually no input from task list, so it's not going to add it on to the end. So adding task list ID to each task. What I want is, I want to add it as a new property, like task list ID value. Yeah, so map it. Yeah, that's it. Task list ID, task list ID. Okay. And we're going to say if it's not provided, then it is just empty. Oh, sorry. I need to paste the code first. It's not provided. It's empty. Alrighty. So now we should have something. Yeah, task list ID. Good. So when we have it, it'll get mapped to it. And then when we come in here, we'll have a new input called task list ID available to us. And that will give us the ability to say that this task list ID will belong to this task list, and also that the relation is going to get added to this task list record. So once that's done, then we can actually just exit this. Success. If it fails, it fails. If this fails, it fails. If it succeeds, it does this. If this fails, the whole thing fails. And if this succeeds, then it succeeds. It goes to the task. Okay. So do fetch the task, create the record, add it to the task list, and then success. So we're going to do this, and then this, and then this. Huh? No. Success do, and that's it. So once the person loads the page, it should create them a list of tasks, and then we should be able to see those tasks here, because I think I already have the component in place. Let's see what happens. Nothing yet. So the count is 2. We're gonna run this on true. It doesn't trigger. Oh yeah, oops. There are 2. Oh, because it's returning 2 task lists. Why is it doing that? Current user. Do I own these 2 task lists? Are they both for today? 240731. Yes, they are. Okay, delete them. Because that came just by accident when I was reloading the page before. So we don't need any tasks lists right now. We can delete all of them. And then here we go. Oh, it doesn't work. So get the items, and that wasn't found. Okay, so it does give the object, but the record's not found. Why not? Evaluate top tasks. So it does. Oh, but probably because these IDs are not the actual IDs of the tasks that are being passed in. Dang. That's okay. So instead of fetching, we're just going to use the direct value. So we're going to use the label value. Yeah, when we manipulate data with JavaScript and Noodle, sometimes the outputted array, if it's a cloned array or a new array, will have new IDs on the items in the array. So tasks, for example, are not going to have the record ID from the database. They'll have like auto-generated ID from Noodle's system of creating new arrays, and it always assigns IDs when it creates things and outputs them into arrays. So we can just use the manual data. So description and objectives and conditions. So we'll just remove this label, description, objectives, conditions, and when we run it, it's just going to do this. And now we need to delete that falsely created task list again. We created 2. Wonder why I did that. And run it. It worked. No class specified. Oops. Task list, and the relation is has tasks. Whoops. It sort of worked. Created some tasks. Nice. We're not going to delete all of them though. Where are the master ones? Yeah, so these 2. It's getting there, it's getting there. Oh, why it's creating 2 task lists every time. Let's have a look at that, just see what's going on. Trigger count 2. Because the query happens twice? Why does the query happen twice? Let's make sure the query just happens once. So when this element is mounted, we do the query, and then that's just, yeah, we do it once. That's important. Okay. Nice. I did copy them too many times, but that's okay. Something we can fix. So we had 2 items, and for some reason these, yeah, we had 2 items. Why were there 4 created? Okay, let's have a look at that. Main page. Okay, so task query record. Okay, and oh yeah, today's task list. Oh, it shouldn't be. We didn't set the variable for today's task list, so it's just querying any tasks. Oops. So when that's done, we need to set the variable. When that's done, then we're going to set the variable today's task list to this. And today's task list. So I bet if I refresh, it'll work. Yes, and if I delete it all and do it again, it'll probably also work. So now, no matter what, it's going to have a task list variable attributed to it. it's pretty quick, like runs those tasks. I mean, it's only 2 items, but if it were 5 items, it would be probably pretty quick too. Sets the thing, and so now we can work on how to get this person to do these tasks and like to tick them or not tick them. What happens when you tick them? I would like some sort of like fanfare to happen, maybe some confetti with a Lottie file, and that you see some sort of progress. Like day 1 you did 4 out of 5 things, day 2 you did 5 out of 5 things. So we've still got some work to do, but that's cool. I'm gonna create some more dummy master tasks in the database so that next time we can really test, is it properly evaluating the top tasks or not? But it seems to be, which is cool. Because I think, yeah. So we'll test that out better next time. We'll add some proper objectives for this person, and then we'll see how we can add something that will create some fanfare when they complete the tasks to give them the idea of gamification, that they're doing something good and whatnot. So, but I think that's made some good progress so far. And I hope you've learned a lot about running tasks and about how Noodle handles arrays. And I hope next time we'll have some more meat for you to see this app really working properly. So I think we're getting close to the end of the construction phase, and we can get into the making it pretty phase afterwards. So hope to see you in the next video. Stick around.